I've noticed an interesting I wanna get to your working out, but I've noticed a kind of interesting an interesting thing happening ever since Barbie came out, and I remember Gary, as you guys may or may not know, Gary will sometimes tell us every Friday the homework, which are certain
Homework. Mm.
shows and movies that we need to watch, and Az has been on F&T, like, way, way, way longer than me. He's like an OG. I'm just really there for boobs and decoration, but sometimes Gary will give us, homework and things that we have to watch, and I'm always like, "I gotta do the homework. I gotta know. I gotta know, have some clue what's going on." And so Barbie wasn't really homework. He was like,
No.
"See it or not." But I think it seems like most of us have all seen it at this point, and I wonder because it's been coming up every show.
Mm.
And I wonder if those of us who haven't seen it yet are just gonna kinda cave and see it, and I've noticed kind of an interesting thing going on where people, if you look at Barbie, they would say, "Okay, Barbie is not really gonna be targeted towards somebody like Az, towards dudes." It's, the Barbie movie, we've been seeing this like, "Oh, it's for millennial women. You don't understand it. You're not watching it right." And of course, everyone is entitled to see every movie and have an opinion on it. But I've noticed a kind of anger in, like, basically dudes or white dudes. I would say it's mostly dudes. There seems to be an anger. I don't know if it's necessarily from feminists. It's probably mostly from feminists. Like, I'm noticing an anger in that guys like you or guys like that are on F&T are just like, "No, I don't." Shad has a very Shad Diversity has a very passionately negative view of the Barbie movie, and, I just wanna know, overall thoughts, were you planning to see Barbie? Did you hate it as much as you were expecting to? Because I went in fully expecting to hate it, and I was surprised that I didn't hate it.
I didn't legitimately wasn't planning on seeing it. Gary had actually messaged me privately and said, "Are you going to go see Barbie?" And I was like, "No, I'm not going to go see Barbie, dude. But I'll go see Oppenheimer, but I can't see it till Monday." So he's like, "Okay, that's cool." And like you said, there was no specific homework for Barbie, so I wasn't going to see it. And then I saw Shad. Shad was very mad about it, and that wasn't a surprise because that was the reaction I was expecting. I was expecting certainly people in our sphere to be coming back with negative reviews of the film. So it wasn't surprising to hear that. And then I don't quite remember what it was. I think because I was doing afternoon tea with Az when I do my just one-on-one stream, and there was quite a few questions which got brought up about it, and I was trying to speak about it, and then I just said, "Look, I can't really speak too much because I can only generalize. I can't speak too much about it unless I go see it. So I guess I got to go see it. Really, if I want to talk about this film properly, I better go see it." So I did. I did go 100% thinking I'm going to hate this film. Most embarrassing experience of my life is walking into a theater that's just full of girls and women, and there was just me and my mate. And I made sure to bring a mate with me because if I went on my own, then there was going to be Chris Hansen phone calls going on. So I brought my mate. So if we ever got challenged, we could just say, "Oh, we're just a gay couple. We love pink. We're here for Barbie. We're just a regular old gay couple." So that was gonna be the low key excuse if we got weird looks. What, we're gay? What are you looking at? And we
Isn't that
just
horrible that you're already preparing your gay speech for when
yes.
you're questioned? That's terrible.
Yes, we already had our Kevin Spacey defense ready.
You're like, "Who's gonna be the top? Who's gonna be the bottom? No, you be the top.
I know
No,
it's
you."
it's really weird when we came with like 2 pages of notes about backstories and stuff like. Anyways,
You're telling
I
your
don't
friend,
know.
"Look, we have to practice in case
Yeah,
someone asks us."
yeah. We gotta do anal, dude. We've got to do it. We gotta be in the knowledge. We gotta be in the knowledge about how this actually works. And no, I legitimately thought I was gonna hate the film. I really did. And it's about 45 minutes into the film or so, and I'm just sat there thinking, this is fine. This is fine. It's not great. It's not terrible, but this is fine. I'm okay with this. And then me and my mate, we've been chuckling. We've been chuckling at some of the things that have happened. And just like, it was around about the time that they got to the real world. I just started to realize that I think people are looking at this movie wrong. I totally agree that Greta Gerwig tried to make this like this uber feminist thing, but I just thought she failed so spectacularly and went so far to the extreme of wokeism and trying to promote everything that it ultimately just came across as parody and satire, whether she wanted it to or not. And so all the kind of woke things that she chucked in ended up being hilarious. Like you have all these buff Kens who have no rights. They don't even have a house to live in. They got to sit on the beach all day waiting for the sun to rise and the Barbies to come in the hope of getting just a look to make their day. Whereas you have all these Barbies and these Barbies like fat and ugly, some of
There
them.
was one fat Barbie. There was one wheelchair Barbie. There was one trans Barbie. The one thing I did appreciate
Weird
about
Barbie.
they did not broadcast that the Barbie was trans. They didn't make a whole big deal of it, which I appreciated, and they could have gone harder on that, and they didn't.
Sure, but at the same time, it was obvious because there's a way that a woman sounds and there's a way that a dude in a dress sounds. And it was a dude in a dress sounding thing. But even the Kens couldn't be disabled. They weren't even allowed to be disabled. You know,
this is part of this, like, I think, I don't know if it's feminist or a type of woman fantasy where there's what women think they want. I think Barbie represents what women think they want. And also I agree with Ryan in that like Barbie Land represents the adult world you think exists as a kid. You're using these Barbies to sort of like play out your I'm a doctor, when really it's just like you have the outfit down. You're like, oh, I'm a entertainer, but really it's just you have the outfit down.
yes.
The jobs don't go farther than the outfit, the hair. And similarly, your relationship doesn't go farther than having Ken is just like arm candy. You're an accessory because and I really felt like this wasn't super man hating because yes, Barbie kind of ignores Ken, but it's because when you're playing with Barbie, you are between what, 7 and 4. My sister played with Barbie till 14 years old. Okay, till ninth grade. I remember that so vividly because I'm a younger sister. I'm like 2.5 years younger than her. And I was like, girl, get it together. Like, you need to be getting ready to get fingered. Okay, put these Barbies away. This is about to be embarrassing for you. Like, come on. Like, I like them too, but we need to move forward. So, like Barbie Land is, and I could see the whole time I really was expecting to hate it because I really was I was a hardcore feminist right out of college. It took all of my 20s to unravel and like deprogram. So, yeah, a lot of the jokes were feminist, but but I was like, okay, they're not going as hard as they could. They're not being as preachy as they could, and they're commenting on the time that most girls, grew up playing Barbies, which is basically my demographic. It's like millennial women. Like we'll be generous between like, I don't know, 25 and 45 is like who they're kind of targeting. And I'm like, okay, it would be interesting to see if this was done by not a director that wasn't known for kind of feminist films. And I haven't really watched any of Greta Gerwig's other films, but I read somewhere that she's considered to be like a progressive conservative, that she's like interested in pushing the boundaries of what it means to be a woman. I'm like, okay, I feel like this is just jargon to make this lady sound more genius than she really is. But I'm like, how can you make a movie about growing up, about this demographic of women growing up at this time, right? Through late 80s into the 90s without commenting on feminism to a degree? Because a lot of us were raised by boomer moms who, a lot of them instilled kind of feminist values in us. Like, you got to go to college no matter what. I just think of my own mother, like, don't settle. She'd say shit to me like, but then she would also say shit to me like, well, Chrissy, it's just as easy to fall in love with a doctor as it is to fall in love with a construction worker.
Well, that's why the movie to me just came across as parody, because I was fine with the Barbie world. I got the rules, okay, and even because the Kens didn't have the houses, I understood why. because when the toys came out, there wasn't a house for Ken. There was the Barbie house. And
There
so
should
I
have
get
been.
that. And you're not sexualizing your toys as a kid. So you're not really have Ken sleeping over at Barbie. So I got all of
Banging
that.
them together.
Yeah. I
Doing it.
get that. The bit which flipped the page for me and made me just start laughing uproariously at some of the stuff was when they went to the real world. Because ironically, the real world was even more of a parody than the Barbie land. Because as soon as she gets to Muscle Beach, whatever it is in California, it's literally just like walking into a rape den, and just everyone's just immediately whoa, slapping her ass, all this kind of stuff. Every single person in authority is a man. Women don't have anything. You have this woman who's a secretary at Mattel, who is the main human in the film. She's got a 14, 15-year-old daughter, however old her daughter was.
What was the
And
actress's name? Rita, or maybe no,
uh,
that's her Cheers character name is Rita, but I can't somebody with that name.
Rhea Perlman.
Rhea
Rhea
Perlman.
Perlman. She was in it. But I'm talking about the secretary with the kid.
Oh, okay, yeah, the main
Yeah.
character,
Yeah. I'm talking
America
about
Ferrara.
yeah, because we're meant to relate to her. And she's got like a 14-year-old daughter with a husband. And she is still married. They're not divorced. She's the daughter 14, 15. That's what I kind of speculated at the age. She's just sort of got to that age where she's stopped playing with Barbies.
Starting to be a cunt, like
starting to be a massive see you next Tuesday. But she must have been married for at least 14 years. Are we okay to speculate that?
Yeah, I
So
don't
her husband
recall.
is only just starting to learn Spanish. I thought that was hilarious. That was just such
I
a
didn't catch
we
that.
need to try and make this guy who's clearly a good husband because they've been together for 14 years. Postman's here. 2 seconds. You talk. Show
Okay. I'll vamp. Yes, America Ferrara's character is the main character of the movie. And she's got the daughter, and it kind of revolves around the Barbies are sort of revolving around how America like played with Barbies growing up. So when Margot Robbie's character starts to be like, something's wrong, this is what we saw in the previews. I'm thinking of thoughts of death. Are you guys thinking of death?
Sorry,
Is
my
that normal?
Barbie just arrived in the post.
Oh,
So.
good. Yeah. Margot Robbie's talking about, this is what we saw in the previews. Are you thinking of thoughts of death, guys? Are you starting to think that what? There's a disturbance in the force, and it's because America Ferrara in the real world is feeling depressed, thinking about death, and it's so her feelings are reflected in her sort of like I guess Margot Robbie represents her Barbie in the Barbie world that she whatever plays with or is kind of like acting out her feelings, and which is insane because like you're telling like that should be way more common is having these Barbies like get depressed because now all these millennial women are in the working world and are depressed because it's like, oh, grown-up adult life is not as cool as I thought it would be. Oh yeah, being a doctor is more than just like getting a cute white jacket and a clipboard. But of course it's a movie, so they can't make all the Barbies depressed. That would be too real.
Yeah, it's just coincidental that she so happens to enter the real world exactly where that woman is, and they just bump into each other immediately, and she works at Mattel. But that's the funny thing because it tries to put it tries like the patriarchy thing, and Ken's respectful to the people he meets in the real world. Then he goes off and gets the patriarchy books, which he basically just thinks are books about horses, which is hilarious. And then he goes to try and get a job. I'm a man. I would like to have a high-powered job.
So funny.
With a great pay. And they're just like, no, you need qualifications. It's just like, what about patriarchy, though? He's like,
can I speak to a real doctor?
You still need qualifications. You're not doing patriarchy correctly. And he's like, oh, yes, we are. But he's not. Because he's not giving Ken a job. Because you got to be qualified for this. The doctor business was great. Can I speak to a doctor? You are. No, a real one. It's funny.
That's funny for everybody. And if you're like a woman getting bent out of shape at that joke, like you probably just don't have enough male friends, or you're not like you don't have enough funny friends. And I hate to have somebody's political or ideological bent keep them from enjoying jokes. Like, you should be able to laugh at a feminist joke if you are not a feminist. You should be
But
able to laugh at a joke that like pokes fun at women, and that doesn't make you a
no,
misogynist, right?
I don't think she's trying to poke fun at women with that joke. I think she's trying to show the sexism of males, but because
Oh
it's
yeah,
stupid, because it's
but it
like
was
we're in
fun.
2023 and your joke revolves around a woman being a doctor. You know, like it's a new thing. Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do
You're
a
right.
joke next about women getting the fucking vote?
It's
You
played
know,
out. It's so played
yeah,
out. It's like
it's
really?
ridiculous. Yes,
Like,
but it just comes across as parody and satire. It's like,
we
do you know
can
that
read
women
now.
can be doctors now?
And
Really?
I think that's where feminists
Wow.
lose so many people, especially like the feminists that are in like culture making positions. It's like you act like we're not even allowed to read. You act
Yeah.
like it's fucking Riyadh. We can't even drive yet. It's like,
Hey, that's unfair. I think you've been able to drive in Saudi Arabia
I
for
mean, yeah, should we
about
be able to drive
about
is a
6
whole other
years,
discussion.
maybe 5 years. I don't know. Not that long. But
Yeah.
that's just it, you see, because she makes a joke at the end when the matriarchy returns back to Barbie Land and the Kens have no power again. They can't even get a position on the fake justice whatever board. And the narrator says, "Oh, one day the Kens will have power, as much power as the women have in the real world, or something." And I'm just like,
Oh yeah.
it's like you don't even have the vote. It's just like, oh yes, women in the real world are just chained
Do you
to
remember
into the kitchen.
do you remember this line where, and I don't remember the context for it, but this guy, I think it was a guy who was like in that circular like roundtable Mattel meeting or something
Mm.
like that. He was like, "Oh, I'm a man with no power. Does that make me a woman?"
Oh yeah,
Do you
that's
remember
the
that line?
yeah. That's the guy from the bullpen, who
Yeah.
has to go up and tell the board that Barbie's escaped to the real world.
I
I'm
laughed
a
at
man
that
with no
so
power.
hard.
I'm basically a woman. See, stuff like that is parody
Yeah.
because women have so much power. You have a woman who's writing this movie, directing this movie with a budget of what's the Barbie movie budget? It's probably somewhere around 200 million.
All of the money. You
To
have
all the
all of the
money,
money.
and you're saying we've got no power. You got Kathleen Kennedy, who's been running Lucasfilm for God knows how long now, who's been doing the Star Wars franchise, who's basically just hired a huge coven of witches. They have so much authority and so much power in so many different areas, and then to claim to pretend that you don't is so disingenuous. Again, it comes across as parody. So I laugh. You know, I could there are certain things I get mad about. I get very mad about. But when I saw this, I just couldn't. Because she was so ridiculous and so hyperbolic in trying to be intersectional and trying to play out victim culture and suppression of women, that it got too ridiculous, so ridiculous that you made your antagonists the heroes. Ken
Yeah.
and the Kens they were great. I don't particularly hate anyone, but Simu Liu, who I've already had dealings with on social media.
Really? You guys
Yeah,
have interacted.
oh, we have interacted. Simu Liu, who's a complete knobhead in real life, I thought was funny as fuck in this film. As just a
Oh,
vacant
yeah.
plastic
All the
Ken.
Kens were funny.
Perfect. Yeah, they were funny people, and if
The
you
and
want to really sort of break down the "I'm Just Ken" song, it's actually a damning indictment on modern day feminism. It's so funny. It really is, because his song is literally about I'm I'm a good looking guy. I'm a good looking guy. If I stayed in the real world, I could have what I want, but I want you. I want you. That's all I exist to be. I just want you. I just want you to notice me. I want you to look behind the tan. I want you to see who I really am, because I'm just a guy who wants to love you. And then he talks about blonde fragility, but because the Kens have no
Blonde
power,
reality.
they can't be fragile. So the blonde fragility has to relate to Barbie, because as soon as the matriarchal society lose power for less than a day, because it's less than a fucking day that they
There's
lose
horses
power, they
everywhere.
fall apart. They absolutely fall apart. So the blonde fragility is actually relating to Barbie, and he's basically saying, I have to deal with your fucking craziness all the time, your fragility all the time, but I'm still here. I'm
Right.
still here. And all
was
you
kind
look at me is just go, I'm just Ken. You're just
It was
Ken.
kind of
That's love.
sad because he was like, basically, like, it was a little bit when you zoom out, you're like, it's so sad. Like, it doesn't matter how good of a guy Ken is, how good he would treat her. Like, wow, it doesn't matter because he's just a man, which is like, it's okay. I'm like, wow, that definitely is like a feminist observation. But I think overall, it's just they meant it to be okay. She's just disregarding the Ken and all the Kens because whoever's playing with Barbie at that time just isn't thinking about boys yet at all. And the line about like, "Oh, I'm a man with no power. Does that make me a woman?" I know what that is based on. That's based on like you're out of college, you're in an entry level job, you're a paper pusher, you're a receptionist because most of my day jobs have been at that level. When you do feel powerless and you hate your boss and you just feel like there's no upward mobility.
And we've
I
all
think
been there.
and that's the thing is men and women have all had jobs like that, but it's feminists love to think they have no power, and it's like, okay, really? Open Instagram and tell me who has power. Open up OnlyFans. And of course, sure, there probably are instances of men who get hired in jobs that, they were super confident and they do the fake it till you make it, and then they eventually I mean, men and women both get hired for jobs they're not qualified for, but in different ways. But it is silly to say just blanket statement, women don't have
Well,
power.
I've worked at a job where my boss was a female and she would refuse to hire females.
Really?
Yeah, she would refuse. She would tell, because I was the manager at the time, and like one day she just confided because I'm going through applications to hire somebody, and she's just like, "Oh, just get rid of these women," and I'm just like, and I was legitimately like, "Oh, why is that?" And she's just like, "Don't want women in the workplace. They cause trouble, and it distracts the boys, and the boys are the ones who work. The women aren't. They don't work. They stand around and talk all day." She was just like that.
Wow, beast.
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
That's the same argument for single sex schooling, right? That it's just too much of a distraction. I've worked for female bosses and I've had way better experiences with the male bosses I've had in my just 15 years of random day jobs. So that's interesting. I don't know. I think the majority of people who saw Barbie are not analyzing it like we are because they don't have YouTube channels. Most people are not culture commentators. Most people are just like, all right, I saw this movie. I have a job. I have a family. I go on with my life. I didn't think too much about it. I think people laughed because there were true observations about man woman dynamics. And
Mhm.
it's also all that positive nostalgia. Like, again, it was a moment. It was like, grab your friends, put on a ridiculous pink outfit, and just go see this movie together. And that's really
Yeah,
all the thought that went into it.
yeah, I think just on a superficial level, Margot Robbie did some funny stuff. She did some funny sort of slapstick stuff. I think she's a very good actress. She's she can emote very well, enunciate very well, and her expressions are funny. I think most people that I've just even normies just loved Ken.
Oh,
They
he
just love Ken.
crushed it.
Yeah, he's just easily the best part of the film. But I think a very important aspect of it is that women were allowed to celebrate femininity, a female audience. You had all these women who are now going to the cinema, dressing up in pink, embracing pink, which is the uber feminine, not feminist, feminine color. Wearing dresses, and just being able to celebrate their femininity in an age where we've been told to celebrate a female penis. So you got these girls and they can go out for big girl nights and go and watch the film, and it's been a celebration. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with creating something specifically targeted towards men or specifically targeted towards children or specifically targeted towards women. There's nothing wrong with actually identifying who your target audience may be and pandering to that target audience. Nothing wrong with that at all. And I think this is an anomaly, because I think if Hollywood sort of go, oh, the message, people are loving the woke messaging in this, and try and do it again, it will fail miserably. I think this is sort of lightning in a bottle because of the extremities that they went to. And if they Hollywood realize the extremity of the woke and go, oh, well, let's just do that again. Let's purposely make it uber woke and therefore satirical, because that'll bring everyone in. They'll fuck that up as well, because it's got to be something that's unconsciously done. And I think Greta Gerwig did this unconsciously. I think she was really attempting to do this massive feminist masterpiece for the future, and just ended up making it just this satirical thing. So it's an unconscious thing, and I don't think they'll be able to repeat it. So I think people are panicking about, well, this is just going to cause a wave of new woke movies. Number one, it's not, because of the strike, because everything's on hold now. Number two, one thing that you tend to find when it comes to films is once people take a step back, regardless of whether or not they want to admit it or not, they realize why this was successful. When you've got the press already coming out with articles saying, stop watching this movie wrong, are you femsplaining to me? When you got that, they're understanding themselves the messaging that you can take from this film, or the way that this film has been created, can be taken in multiple ways. And if you want to get angry about it, get angry about it. And if you want to be okay about it, whatever, that's your prerogative to do. But I think they understand why this has actually struck gold, in terms of quite a lot of people either appreciating it or liking it or laughing at it or whatever it may be. But I just couldn't see this as anything but just satire. I really couldn't.
Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Come and get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.